The weekly time frame came in with a very bullish signal. While the upside is still of higher probabilities, it is important and critical for us to go over the play for potential pullbacks and resistances as we approach what's called the 50% of historical returns. Let's pop the hood and catch an edge for the coming days. Welcome back to the channel on this happy Sunday. This is ARCa. Let's dive into ticker symbol FNGR. What is up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. Let's go ahead and dive into ticker symbol FNGR here in the 12-hour time frame. So this is the ascending triangle that Cryptic Trader actually noticed, right? I actually remember, I think it was Cryptic Trader that pointed this out during one of the live streams, right? So very, very, very important catch here that he ended up noticing, as it is giving us a range and a convergence of price as we move through time, right? So of course, this is the 12-hour time frame. We're looking at every single candle completing within that 12-hour spectrum. So you can imagine only how long, you can only imagine how long this can take to fortify, right? So it's not of the biggest importance for this type of triangle to get to the apex of the triangle. They can break out at any moment. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that as long as the sentiment does believe that it has the opportunity to break out at whatever point, then it'll do what it will, right? So now the zone that we were speaking of as a resistance has now been cleared with let's see. Yeah, four consecutive 12-hour candles closing outside of the resistance zone. And now this one being the first 12-hour candle to close clean beyond this resistance of 545. So that is a very good signal here. Now, that's not to say that we're just going to face the upside from here. Of course, we're going to zigzag. We're going to be up and down the whole way, right? Just like we have been for weeks, right? So it's looking okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the next chart to see what we have here. I just wanted to point out the very obvious within this zone. Oh, right, the 50% of returns, right? Let me go ahead and explain that to you. So this zone here, let's just take, for example, this top side as a resistance, and we'll take the yellow line down here as the main support, right? You can see here that, well, actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and get as close as I can to it right there. And if we go ahead and highlight this, then you'll start to see the middle of our range, right? So this means that we are getting very close to the 50% of the returns from this current price action, this current chop zone. So naturally, that's going to be an area of resistance, just like we've been facing, right? A couple times here already, right? Even from here, we resisted here, right in here, and in on Friday too, right? So it's critical for us to know and observe that 570 to around 576 zone, or 580, right? So just keep that in mind, because it is a critical resistance located there. Now, as far as the immediate short term, I want to point this out, because this is often a question I get, and lots of traders don't really know how to identify these zones, right? So let me get rid of the moving averages here. And the reason why I pointed this out here, the 574, which is obviously, right, that 580 that we were already looking at. And of course we have the 570 here, 577 being the right angled descending broadening wedge that we've been keeping an eye on, right? So of course it's going to be a natural area of resistance. Not only that, is that it rhymes very, very nicely with the 50% of historical returns right over here at about 569, right? Or 570. So just so you can see how far things really correlate with each other, okay? But now coming back to this range here that I drew, this is very particular, right? Particular for day traders, right? We have to make sure to identify the prior day's low and the prior day's high. Now, it's up to you to determine what the levels of pre-market are going to be, right? So whatever happens tonight, into the early pre, and of course you can keep in mind the pre-market here from Friday, which was around 556. Sure, we can always do that, but I just want to point out here these two primary areas, right? Because this marks off an overall zone for us to make sure to keep an eye on, okay? The reason why I'm saying this, to keep an eye on this area here, right? The reason why I'm saying that is because as soon as you start breaking the prior day lows, right, the prior bar, meaning that if we're if you're looking at this like in a daily time frame, and let's see, hold on just a sec, or a 12-hour time frame. Hold on, I'm going to go ahead and point it out to you. Here we go. Okay, so yes, this particular zone here, right? As soon as you start breaking beneath these areas here, whether it be 549 to 545, that's going to be a clear indication that there may be a further correction towards the downside. Okay, and then maybe we're going to have to start observing a potential pullback, right? So it doesn't always work out like that. It's just I want to put it out there for you to identify, right? But intraday, oh, you know what? I have it located in the, hold on just a sec, team. Let me go ahead and adjust this to down right over here at the low of this candle here. Right, so this is going to be the prior day low. This is the prior day high. Keep an eye on that 522 to 574. If we start breaking upside of 574, you know that we have a resistance from 578 to 580 already naturally, right? But breaking upside of 574 and confirming it with at least an hourly candle closure, we can then start looking at the next resistance zone being right at around $6. Okay, which is going to be very bullish. Now, if we break the prior day low, this is Friday right here, right within this. Damn, I know that it's a little hard for you to see, right? So let me just kind of pull this into visibility a little more, although I really don't like to have my pre and post market like that, right? So as soon as we can start clearing, yeah, let's see, the pre-market, yeah, I guess the pre-market high and low is well within here. It's entirely okay. Yeah, so if we break beneath the 522 here, team, then we're going to have to start observing targets a little lower, right? So particularly the most pertinent target would be around 514 if we start breaking beneath this 522 zone, okay? Now, what's going to introduce the 522 zone would be breaking beneath this zone here at 545, right? So this is, I'm sorry, I had this, I thought this was the prior day low, but this is the inflection zone. I failed to note it as an inflection, right? So if we fail beneath this 545 and start closing a 4-hour candle beneath that, 522 would be the most pertinent target, right? Zigzag around. First, 537, resistance grab at 545, then a drop to 522. Now, of course, what's going to start giving us the implications here, or a top side of 574, would be this zone here. That would be the inflection from the opposing side, right? So just to give you the perspective here from a momentum trader, this would be the way you would observe price, right? So let me just go ahead and put that right into here, and then you'll be able to observe the price action as it would move. Breaking this with an hourly to 4-hour candle at 566 would introduce here the top side of 574 to 580, and then closing a 4-hour candle or daily candle upside of 574 to 580 would then introduce the $6 target, right? So of course that can be done within a split second. That, you know, obviously this thing has that kind of power, right? But to practice it in general terms, that's usually how it's done, right? That's usually how day traders tend to look and observe price action, right? So now you know that play. Let's go ahead and move on to the next target or the next chart here and pay attention to something very critical. Okay, this is the hourly time frame EMA 21. This is what we can consider the conversion of resistance, right? We've been resisting from that EMA 21 all the way down. And now you can see here, this is the first break of it, and this is the first test of it. So now we're bouncing off of this, and if we have to come back and test it, let it be. But what do you know? What target is that right there? Look to the right, 545. So that EMA 21 on the hourly chart, and I gave you an hourly candle closure, right? So hourly to 4-hour, that would start to invalidate things, okay? So we want to make sure to keep that. So 545 also being the prior day's range in inflection point is serving as a support, as not only the range for the support as the inflection zone, but also the EMA 21 support. Okay, team. So now coming back down here, you can see that we've also cleared upside of the SMA 50, right? So now one thing that we should point out here is that, yes, we did break out of the SMA 50 here. We came back to test it, and then we continue to the upside. So that may very well be the test for both of these. Even though we may get another shot to 545 here, that's entirely okay. All right, so I just want to point it out to you like that, okay, team? So it's looking pretty good. I think we already have the validations for both of the moving average supports, and we're moving on up. But don't doubt and don't hesitate if this thing comes back down to 545. It's entirely okay. All right, team. So now let's go ahead and move on to the next chart here. And this is yet again another way that we can observe price action down here. And if we go ahead and point the candles down to the, I use the regression channel. This is the linear regression channel. I use it every day in the day trades, right? So now this right here would be the next bi-hourly candle, and that's going to be opening in the pre-market. So now if we put our mouse right in this mid band and see what price that is, you're going to be surprised to find out what that price is. Well, what do you know? Look to the right and see what it is. Yep, you guessed it right. 545 yet again. That marks off the center of the linear regression channel, and this is the bullish control zone, right? So if we can start validating here, at least now with a bi-hourly candle closure above that 145, we can go ahead and continue onwards and upwards. Okay, team, it's very important for us to observe our tools, for us to observe critical areas of supports and resistances prior to, historical price action is what I'm saying here, right? So, yeah, it's looking healthy. I do believe that we have a good shot here at closing outside of the 545 zone and support from the EMA 21 hourly, the linear regression channel bi-hourly, and the 5-minute time frame inflection point. Okay, lots of things rhyming within that area. Here's a little bit of a reminder for my listeners, team. Please remember that I now have, I think, only 3 seats left for the ARCa Masters Trading course. Please go ahead and get in touch with me at arcamasterscourse@gmail.com, and I'll go ahead and give you all the pertinent information for that, as those seats are, I don't even know if they're actually going to be taken over the next few hours, because 2 have just been taken over the last hour. Okay, team, so that's it's only been promoted for around 3 weeks, and it's already the 30 seats total, and they're already kind of sold out, and I'm already getting the, hey, ARCa, can you hold 1 seat for me? It's getting a little tough here, team, okay? So please go ahead and get in touch with me as soon as you can, as this is likely to start on November 11th on a Saturday, 9 or 10 a.m. Pacific. That decision will be made very soon. Okay, team. So yes, this is looking incredibly powerful. Let's make sure to pull up some moving averages here and see what's up. Well, take a look at that. Let's just see look at that. That is actually the support from our EMA 30 period and our SMA 10. Currently sitting right there and converging with the EMA 55, team. This is looking pretty good. Not only that, is it's kind of a bull flag here too. I think this is getting ready for a move to the upside, and it's going to be a short-term pullback, maybe to around 545 before a continuation on. If it does move beneath 541, just make sure that it doesn't close any major time frames like a 4-hour beneath that, or even an hourly, right? It wouldn't be that good if it did. But primarily the 4-hour time frame closing beneath that 545 would not be so good. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the next chart here and observe here the daily time frame. Very, very, very impressive. SMA 100 touch, and touching back to our initial area of support that we were talking about before we switched it to 451, right? So the initial support we had here was down to 483, where the price actually ended up bouncing from 480. And created that upside, right? So very, very critical times here, as the daily time frame is now moving outside of the EMA 55 and converting it into that support before a continuation to the upside. Okay, team. So now if we focus on the SMA 10 here on the daily, I want you to see the target on that, because that is 596. And the target that I was talking to you about was upon validations of the current resistance that we're at, right? Breaking 580 or 574 to 580 would introduce the $6 zone that we spoke of, right? Well, that is absolutely a resistance range. If we're observing this on a daily time frame, that is definitely your SMA 10 located right at 596, one spot 618 located at 608. Naturally, we have a whole zone of resistance for us to observe. Right here you go. Now we know the total zone that we have in order for our benefit. Okay, team. So that is where things can go upon the validations of those closures that I spoke of. No way, no how. I guess the only other way that it would happen, team, would be actually a FOMO just attacks here and it just goes to the upside, and that's it, right? That's the only way that I can see things invalidating the potential play that I just noted. Okay, team. So here, now check this out. The weekly time frame closure came in with a massive hammer candle. After this is literally your upside all the way down here, printing a huge hammer candle. This is usually the first signal of a reversal coming in. Okay, team. So this is looking massively bullish. I definitely like what's going on here. Let's go ahead and now check on my notes here for the daily time frame Gaussian channel. Okay, daily time frame Gaussian. Look at that bullish action here, team. Very, very impressive close upside of the mean from the Gaussian bands. And where do you think that Gaussian band center is located? Well, let's look to the right and take a look. 547. What do you know that? 545 peeking at us yet again. Okay, team. So that's why I'm saying do not doubt price action to come back down and start validating those breaks of critical resistances to convert into support before a continuation to the upside. And this is giving us a massive upside target of around 648, team. Let's just go ahead and get there first, right? But I would like to point out here that this tiny little area here before this gap is located between the zone of around $6.10 and around $6.15. So again, this $6.10 to $6.15 coming back to the previous charts rhymes with the 608 one spot 618. Man, good times here, team. Everything is looking okay. The targets are all rhyming. The trajectory is definitely suggesting a continuation to the upside. And now here focusing on the daily time frame, I guess I'm going to call it a discretionary resistance level. Okay, so please take a look at that resistance level, 593 to 604. We're still in line with ourselves. Okay, team. So this is absolutely powerful. Now, let's see. So yeah, it looks like we're about to come into a resistance level here in the 30-minute immediate short-term time frame. I'm not gonna say that it's gonna pull back because this is getting close to the gravitational zone of the bull weakness percentile. Highly likely for price action to actually clear that, depending on how hard that pivot is, right? So if it does clear it, that would give high validity to what's happening here in the bi-hourly time frame. It is in the gravitational zone here. We could face a little bit of a pullback here, which would validate some earlier time frame pullbacks to the 545 level that we're speaking of before a bounce to the upside. If this is too close, that means that the bi-hourly time frame may not be the 545, and it in fact would be the 4-hour time frame back down to this SMA 14 alongside the gravitational pull from the bear strength percentile will bounce right off of this gravitational zone support and the SMA 14 and bounce straight to the upside here upon getting that 545 validation. And that would actually make the 6-hour time frame not even flinch that much. The 8-hour time frame would actually just face a short-term pullback right here. That's very much in line with twice the distance here, being 8 hours to 4 hours. Right, we'll get that 4-hour distance down to here. We'll go ahead and get the shorter time frame distance down to this SMA 14, bounce from that support, bounce from the support, 545 validated, right? So it's looking like it could be that. Remember that this is very discretionary for me to say 545, but things tend to rhyme like that in the markets, okay, team? So now I'm not going to go ahead and focus on the 12-hour daily, 3-day, or 5-day time frames yet, because the 5-day time frame is essentially telling me that this could be the $6 resistance, right? 6 to 610 or whatever resistance. I don't want to focus in on that. I want to make sure that we can clear the shorter time frame supports first of all down to 545. Grab that test, resistance all the way up to the 574 to 580 zone, and clear that with a support validation, and then the 6, right? So we have some things to do first in order for us to get to that target. You guys know the resistances, you know the supports and the risks. All right, so please make sure to keep diligent here and keep sharp. But we're going to go ahead and go over this in the live tomorrow, okay, team? Please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. Never, 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 forever. I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well a very, very good rest of your weekend and night, and I'll catch you at the bell mañana. Adios. Yeah.